It is conference tournament season. It is Big 12 conference tournament season. I got my guy Subi here with me. Subi, let me start off by asking you this. Is there a nickname for the Big 12 tournament? What's the nickname of it?
Hey man, I just got here.
Uh,
I just got this is my first year in the Big 12. I
you
have no
gotta you
idea.
gotta
I'm
immerse yourself in the conference.
um I don't know. You put me on the spot here, but it's funny because we're gonna be previewing these Tuesday games and they're pretty butt cheeks. Like I'm not gonna lie to you, dude. Like I'm an advocate for college basketball, but these games are not pretty. And I think it speaks to the Big 12 in terms of like the top half is really good. We got a national title contender in
Mhm.
our conference, but the bottom half, which are going to be the Tuesday games, are a little ugly. So I don't know what can we do with that in terms of a nickname. Like can we give it? Can we go the route of this new fad that we're giving NBA players? I don't
Just
know,
call
like the polarization or something.
we'll just call it we'll call this first round the below average. That'll be the nickname for this first round. But look, all games matter, and on this channel also games at 12:30 Eastern time matter. I don't know what time zone you're into, but they always matter on this here channel. So we have Cincinnati, Oklahoma State kicking us off in the Big 12 tournament here. Two teams that I've had, they get to the same point of underachieving for most of the year, one more so than the other. Wes Miller is a very highly or was highly sought after, like maybe coaching, waiting for another job. And people really thought he could be really good this year for Cincinnati. They were a preseason top 25 team. They were pretty high on Kempon for most of the year. They really lagged down the stretch. They had an embarrassing home loss to Cincinnati to Kansas State that provided us with a great post game clip from Wes Miller. So, Subi, I'm gonna ask you the question everyone's wondering. What's great about this game?
It's a contrast in styles, if you like that, right?
There we
Styles
go.
make fights. That's what they say. Oklahoma State likes to push the pace. They're a fast tempo team. Cincinnati, one of the slowest teams in the entire country. The issue for the Cowboys is that they can't shoot the basketball. They are not a good shooting team whatsoever. On the flip side, if I'm looking at the Bearcats, and I think this is going to be a relatively tight game, the Bearcats can't shoot free throws. And like in tight games, free throws are going to matter and they're going to look back. I think Cincinnati's shooting 60 some odd percent on the season. They're one of the worst teams in the entire country from the line. So this is going to be an interesting game, but it's funny from a coaching perspective. You talk about Wes Miller. I actually am a big believer in Steve Lutz. I loved what he did at Western Kentucky. People forget in that first round game against a dangerous Marquette team and one of the best point guards in the entire country, Tyler Kolek. Western Kentucky was handling them for like the first half. And I think a lot of folks were like, is this going to be another 15 over two? Didn't come to fruition. But I think Steve Lutz is building something in Stillwater. I think some folks thought that about Wes Miller, but it's hit the skids a little bit this season. Cincinnati's a more talented team, but I'm looking at the coaches, man, and Steve Lutz is pretty green as it relates to coaching in big time spots, and this is his probably most big time game. Can Wes Miller get it done in a big time spot? Track record says no. So I think those are some compelling aspects of this game, just this contrast in styles, but also the coaching matchup as well.
Yeah, and when you get to these first round games, especially in these tournaments where obviously I think different teams have different motives in these spots. Like I think what great point you brought up is in the moment, like if I had to pin a coach that's playing in the first day to like make a run in this tournament and somehow like steal a bit or something like that. I'm not saying Oklahoma State's team has the talent to do that, but I think that Lutz is a guy that can maybe get his team to overperform. And you look on the other side, I know people might tell me differently, but this is how I feel about it. This Cincinnati team is maybe just disgusted to be in this spot. Like they're looking back at this season, they're a preseason top 25 team, and now they find themselves in almost the 60s on Kempom. They're playing on the first day of the Big 12 tournament. They had embarrassing losses down the stretch. This team had such high hopes, I think, coming into this year, and they've kind of faltered at every step. So you maybe question like, what is Cincy's motivation? Are they like, let's play like the team people thought we were going to be, or are they at the point where they're licking their wounds? They're like, you know what, this year has been shot, kind of. Let's just get us out of here. We don't want to be here a couple more days. Which side do you lean more so? I guess in the style of maybe like Lutz carrying his team to some bid stealing environment, or like Cincinnati's want to actually even be here.
Cincinnati definitely wants to be here. I think they are going to say to themselves, look, there was a point in this season, albeit very early, where we were playing good ball. Remember, this is a team that finally broke the streak against Xavier. I will say I'm going to give myself a pat on the back. After that game, I was like, they should have dominated Xavier because it was at home and Xavier was kind of terrible at that juncture of the season. And it was like a precursor or foreshadowing of how this season was going to go for Cincinnati. But I don't think all is lost for the Bearcats. Now, do I think they're going to make a run? No. But in terms of their mentality, like it's not completely dead. And by the way, there's another Big 12 team that is completely dead. We'll get to that in another preview. But I think they're going to try and channel it, but the gas may have just run out at this point. And I actually, if I flip it, man, you're right in terms of motivation. Steve Lutz, like I mentioned, is building something. And you called it Cincinnati is a more talented team. But I think the motivation for the Cowboys is, hey, we're actually in, the first season under a new coach. We're treading water in a good conference. Let's build good habits going into the offseason, right? It's kind of like let's make a run here in the NIT to build off of. When we see teams do that, I actually think Oklahoma State's going to be pretty dang motivated in this game. So that's what I don't think Cincinnati though is just going to say like, we're done. Let's get the hell out of Kansas City. I think there's a shred somewhere in there that says they want to propel themselves, but I don't know if they'll find it.
Yeah, if they do want to do that, I think they win this game. To be honest with you, I think the talent will stand out, and also, for all the offensive issues that Cincinnati has had, they're still a top 25 defense on Ken Palm. They do some endearing things on the defensive end that can make you feel good about that team. It's just they're so ugly offensively that you can't even appreciate the defense at times.
It's just kind of crazy, man. Like Seamus Lukosius, Dan Skillings, like Jizzle James has been pretty good, but you're like, dang, what? It's just so underwhelming. But I'm gonna take the flip side, man. I actually think the Cowboys spring. I don't know if it will be an upset. I'm not sure what Ken Palm has it as, but I got the Cowboys winning this game just because I think both of them have a similar profile over the last 10 games. They've been pretty average. Oklahoma State actually dominated the paint last time out against Cincinnati. I think they'll do that again. And Oklahoma State, can they turn Cincinnati over? Cincinnati takes pretty good care of the basketball, but Oklahoma State does a really good job of turning teams over and stealing the ball. This is going to be a tight contest, but I think I'm putting a lot more faith into Steve Lutz than I am Wes Miller. I haven't seen him do it in a big time spot, man.
All right. So actually, now we get to our prediction point of this. Ken Palm has Cincinnati favored by 6 points in this basketball game. So if
All right.
you're feeling good about that, you get the points. So Oklahoma State played Cincy on Saturday, and they're just running it back, and they actually beat Cincinnati by 11 at home. So look, I don't know where to go with this Oklahoma State team. They have like wins over Iowa State. They have like some solid wins on the year. They've also like lost to 40 to some teams. So I guess we're gonna see who shows up. I want to get this on
Hang
record,
on a sec.
Subi.
Hang on a sec. Oklahoma
Oh,
State beat Iowa State
yes,
for real?
yes.
Oh,
Unless I'm
dang.
reading this, yeah, Oklahoma State beat Iowa State
When the hell did that happen? My bad.
at home.
That's a great win.
Yeah, I mean, I was just as surprised as you were. They also followed that up by losing to UCF by 13. So like I don't know what to do with this team, I'll be honest with you. But I do want to get this on record because we're gonna do the recap on here. So I want to just make sure I'm getting us to the point we got to get to. Are you going with the Cowboys to win this one?
Cowboys win 72-70. Maybe we get another impassioned speech from Wes Miller.
Impassioned. So I'm gonna go the other side on this. It's gonna be Cincinnati. They're gonna win 55-54. It's gonna
That's
be
not
ugly.
like
It's gonna be absolutely ugly. Credit to anyone for watching the game, but we will watch the game, and we will be back here on Sleepers Media YouTube channel to recap the game. Make sure to tune in all March for all of our conference tournament and NCAA tournament content.